I think we're live. I don't know that my video played. So let's welcome everybody to our back to school presentation. It's a collaboration between GEG New Jersey and GEG Pennsylvania. And if we could start at the top and introduce ourselves, that'd be great. So start off with Ted.
All right. Good evening, everybody. My name is Ted Samaras. I am one of the New Jersey GEG co-leads. My partner in crime is here as well. I'll let her introduce herself. I'm very lucky to represent a wonderful team that we have and all the great people of New Jersey.
All right, I am next down the line. Hi, everybody. I'm Katie Davis-Winko. I am also part of GEG New Jersey. Recently, to this point as co-leader. I'm excited to be here and excited to share with everybody and represent GEG New Jersey.
And I'm Judy, co-leader of GEG Pennsylvania, and I'm from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Go ahead,
Hi,
Arlen.
everyone. Arlen Roth. I am GEG Pennsylvania, as you can see from my background. And I work as an instructional technology specialist at Bellefonte Area School District, not far from Penn State.
Hello there. My name is Jennifer Tamberlin. I am also a co-leader for GEG Pennsylvania, and I am from St. Mary's, which is a rural town in Elk County, Pennsylvania.
So we're going to get started. We're going to kind of jump right in. But at first, I wanted to share with you, you'll see these again at the end, but we have the QR codes and the website links for both of the GEG New Jersey and Pennsylvania websites. And there we are again. You should have had your Steelers jersey on there. So we're going to start off with Google Classroom, and we're going to start off with the first slide. So here we go. So I wanted to make everybody aware that there are now quick links in the stream for Google Classroom. So now on the stream, you go off to the left and it says click quick links, and all you have to do is click the plus button and add a link for links that your students use all the time in Google Classroom. And Ted, you're up.
Yeah, I believe this one is mine. Before I go, just a couple of quick things for the audience, because I know we probably have a huge international audience as well. So I just want to make a mention that Pennsylvania and New Jersey geographically are very close to each other. We are separated by the Delaware River at many points. Most points it costs money to get across from one side to the other, although you can walk over the bridge from Lambertville to New Hope or New Hope to Lambertville, depending on what you're doing. South Jersey, I know, fancies themselves as part of Pennsylvania, especially when the Eagles win. So there is also that as well. And one other fun fact before I go into topics, because I can't help it because I'm a history guy, that everybody knows that Delaware was the first state, but what they failed to recognize is that Pennsylvania was the second state and New Jersey was the third state. And those states were the only three to ratify the Constitution in 1787. Georgia waited until January of 1788, another fine year. Okay, awesome. So now we are in Google Classroom and using topics. So no matter how many times I talk about this, whether it's a veteran teacher or a new teacher orientation, there's always one teacher who's like, I'm not going to bother. They're running around and I get it. But using topics in classroom allows you to organize your assignments so they're kind of blocked out. Whether you choose to do it by like a particular topic that you're doing in your subject, whether you want to do it by like your period 1, 2 class, 3, 4 class, however you do it, always think about putting a topic in your assignments, because at the beginning of the year, it's like when you start throwing mail on the table, right? It doesn't look like it's a big deal until you got like a huge stack, and now all of a sudden you're sorting through everything. So that's my little tip in there. Thank you for that time.
Well, Katie, didn't you have one? I thought there was one for Katie there too, but maybe we'll find it eventually.
I did. I don't know why it's not. Yeah, I had one. I could talk about it, even though there's not a slide for it, if you'd like me to.
I'm sure there's a slide. Maybe we'll come across it, but if you want to, let me see if I can find it quick.
Yeah, I see
what
it in the
slide?
original. It's naming conventions.
Yep, it's naming conventions,
Yeah.
and it's in order.
I can talk about it.
Let me
It's okay.
let me share. I mean, hang on.
Oh, good, Judy. We're from Jersey. We can roll. It's all good.
Let me just put it up on my screen here. There.
Look at that pivot.
How's that?
Nice.
There we go. All right. So mine is just really quick. It's always important. I know it's something that has been talked about time and time again with posting, but I always like to remind my teachers of it at the beginning of the year because it was something that when I was in the classroom, I taught special ed for a number of years. That was so helpful for my students and for my parents who were trying to keep track of everything on Google Classroom. So in addition to the topics, which were a lifesaver for my students, I also made it a point to make sure I had numbering naming conventions for all of the posts that I made on Google Classroom. So I varied between either just starting at 001 and going up throughout the year or breaking it down by unit. So I would, for unit 1, post 1, I would put 1.1 and then the title, 1.2, then the title. It was just easy because then when a parent called me about, a homework assignment that was missing or a classwork assignment, I didn't have to give them the name of the assignment. I could just say, oh, you're missing, 3.5. And it was really easy for the parent and child to sit down together and say, oh, here's 3.5. There's only one that exists on the entire classwork stream. So it just made things easier for my grade book. It made things easier for the students. Also for me as a teacher, being able to say, okay, today we're working on 4.7 instead of saying we're working on author's purpose notes part 4. It was a little bit easier for everybody involved. So I always like to remind people starting off the year, use your topics and also use your naming conventions to make things a little bit more organized and easy to follow.
Great. And so now we're going to talk about Google Forms. So first up, Ted.
Oh, this is awesome. You guys are going to get rid of me early. So with Google Forms, I beg you, as somebody who scrubs a lot of data in district, to ask your first names and your last names separately as separate questions. I know that some people fall in the camp of just ask the name because the teachers or administrators or the students just want to be able to type their name and they don't want to have to answer 2 separate questions. Statistically, it really doesn't take much more time to click into that second box and type their last name, and it will save you a ton of time when you're looking through those spreadsheets. Just because then you can choose to sort by first name, last name, student ID number, when you come to it, that type of thing. But like I said, if you could separate first name, last name, I find that it will save you a ton of time on the back end with those spreadsheets.
This one's mine. This is sending your forms to one sheet. The only thing I like more than forms are spreadsheets. And so whether it is a certain class period or a subject area or an extracurricular team or dealing with, I deal with Chromebooks and things like that. All the forms related to that class, I send to the same spreadsheet. So I'll start a spreadsheet. For example, I did a student interest survey this year, and I started that spreadsheet, and it was called, Tamberlin Spanish Class 2031, and that will be their spreadsheet where all their responses lie for the entire year. I'll do the same thing with the dance team. We'll do their information, then we'll do their sizing and their fun, all in the same spreadsheet. They just exist in little tabs, separate workbooks on the bottom. So you have one spreadsheet to bookmark, and that's where you can look for all responses related to that specific group of students.
I love that idea. I use that a lot too. Google Docs. Woo-hoo.
Okay, so something a little bit newer that I wanted to throw out there. If you guys haven't seen it in Google Docs, along the left side, you can actually now have multiple pages, like tabs. So this is great for, like, if you're having meetings, or if you're doing like versions of like a drafting kind of thing. Um, we use it for our GEG New Jersey meetings, where now, instead of saying here's the link for the June agenda, here's the link for the July agenda, now we actually have these tabs where it's the same link all the time, and we can just make a new one, and we have our agendas all listed. One caveat to this is that I know some people have mentioned that when they go to print, they'd like to, they think they could print the whole thing, like, like a multiple page like agenda, but you gotta want to think of it more as like an accordion file. So like as you go into each one, you have to print each page as if like it was a separate doc, because it treats it like it's a separate doc. It's just kind of all linked together. But it's a nice way of, especially for grade level meetings or parent conferences, or all those type of things that you want to stay organized with. Because a lot of people just think organization in sheets and forms, like we've talked about. But this tool allows us to really kind of stay organized. And because we do a great job of staying organized, see, this is where dead air comes in on the radio. Again, like I said, we used it. We started using it. Katie, what did we start using it? Like last year, right? Like maybe like mid last year when it came out in January.
Yeah, I think that was around then when we started. It's been really helpful to kind of keep track of everything all in one place, instead of, like you have all, like when you, I know when you create like a calendar meeting, like it sometimes will populate its own document, but I prefer the option of having it all, in one spot. It makes it a lot easier to keep track of.
Yeah, and what's also cool is that you can, when you're in those tabs, right? The three dots there in Google, always press the three dots. There's always something good. Well, usually there's something good. I won't say always. That's kind of an absolute term. There's usually something good behind those three dots. And one of the things you can do is you can duplicate it. So like for the agenda tonight, we just had our GEG New Jersey meeting. I will, once, I put some other notes in there, follow-up items or whatever, I'll actually click those three dots and duplicate that page, so that this way it's in the same, like, document workbook, but now I've got the whole layout again, and I didn't even have to jump to like a different tab or anything like that, like tab in my browser. Yeah, and so that's actually been really helpful. So, and it looks like Judy's got prioritizing folders on here too.
Yeah, she lost connection. She just sent me a chat. So if somebody wants to take that on while she's reconnecting.
Yeah. Anybody, and now listen, I know this audience is already tuning out because they've heard me 3 times. So if somebody else wants to do it, you can. Otherwise, I'll just keep yapping. All right, Arlen.
I'll take that one.
All right.
My favorite is what I see Judy already did, the emojis. If you didn't already know, on a Windows device, you can hold down the Windows flag. That key actually does something. The key that has the little Windows logo, and then push period, and that brings up all the emojis. There's also a shortcut for MacBooks, but I don't know what it is. It maybe it's command something. So that's how you can type an emoji anywhere you want. You don't need a fancy extension. If you want one, you can use one. I also see teachers that number their folders, that they'll number them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the ones with the numbers show up at the top. I've seen people put Z's at the beginning. I've seen teachers put spaces at the beginning. And that's just a great way to have the folders that you want to see at the top of your drive always show up at the top. Anyone else have any favorites that I didn't mention that you like?
I just love using the starred folders, right? The starred folders. And I'm excited to try the workspaces and bookmarking those. So it gets you right where you need to be in your drive.
Yeah, and I also like the idea of organizing like this. I have a MacBook, luckily for work, and I believe it is Control Command Spacebar. Sometimes with my fat fingers, it might be Option Command Spacebar, but usually I manage to hit one of those combination of buttons. They're all right there together, but I believe it's Control Command Spacebar, and it brings up the emojis, which is really cool. But you can see though, like when you're thinking about organization as a whole, a lot of these things that we've talked about already in just this like short period of time kind of like flows one to the other. So whether it was like the tabs and the docs, or Katie was talking about the naming conventions, right? Like this is a perfect example now of the naming conventions too. Now you're just adding hieroglyphics to it, right? Now you're just being all ancient Egyptian with the emojis in there, but the idea is the same though, right? You're staying organized, and you're making it easier for you, and more importantly, your end user who you're sharing those folders with as well. So those are awesome. Those are awesome tips.
And you can even do that within the files themselves too, in each folder. Like I know I have my emoji folder so that it brings them to the top, but then inside my folders, my files have the emoji too, so that those ones go to the top when I go into the folder, if you really want to drill down and keep everything like centered.
I think
Somebody
Judy
is
must be back.
Is that Judy?
Judy,
I wasn't sure if I should share my screen and jump into my slides and expect that by the time I'm done with that, Judy will be back.
Yeah, why don't you try that?
Yeah.
Well, let's see if it works.
That's good. Well, Arlen, as I recall, without putting all the inside baseball and backstage stuff in, I believe everybody else is still on a similar level to Judy. Only one of us was demoted. So if anybody can do it, it would be you guys.
So, okay, I got it. All right, I'm glad that worked. So this was actually a training that I offered for new teachers at the start of school, and I was very excited to see this. I feel like it's the best thing that Google's done with classrooms since they allowed teachers to assign assignments to multiple classrooms. I realized I put click here for full presentation. We will send that link or add it to the comments. We'll make it available to you because I realize you can't really click it on a live stream. So I'm going to give you the highlights of an hour presentation and I'll say less than 2 minutes. So this is what we saw when we went into classroom sometime in August. And yeah, I was very excited about that because our school just has the free version and this was available to all versions. These are all the things that you can do. And that little pop-up in the previous window had a link that explains all of these, but just looking at these quickly, there's a lot here. Plus down at the bottom, it says create a gem, create a notebook. Those are entirely separate trainings. I mean, that we don't have enough time. I'll just tell you those are separate things that are available. So I'll give you a couple examples. If you're on the first tab that says all, these are the things that are now included free in Google Classroom. The ones that have that little diamond shaped, and I've asked teachers every training what the name of that shape is, I can't remember. I should remember because it's part of the Steelers logo, but I don't know what it's called. It's not a diamond. It's an ISO something hedron, that thing. Those will open in a separate window. They'll open in Gemini. The ones that don't have the diamond, they will open right in Classroom. So if you look at planning, these are your choices. This is instructional material, assessments. I skipped supporting students and administration. That's okay. But there was a teacher that under administration, one of them was plan PL sessions, and that was actually a task that she needed to do. And that saved her a ton of time afternoon on the same day. So I'll give you a couple examples. This was choice board. And instead of giving it a really detailed prompt, I just said grade 4, electricity and circuits. And it actually gave me something pretty good. I realize those are hard to read, but when I read through them, there were some things in there that I've observed in 4th grade classrooms. And the 4th grade teacher said, that's pretty good. When you have something to share out of Gemini and Google Classroom, many times you'll have the option that you can add it directly to your Google Classroom. That's nice. The other option is to export it to Google Docs. But if you see the add to class button, it allows you to take that and give it to students using any of those options. Releveling text. This one's huge because there are always students that need text at a different level. So you just copy and paste the text in, pick the target grade, and not only does it do it for you, but it also gives you the option that if there are key vocab words that you want it to keep, you can identify those. So this was one. I used to teach science. I read through this. It looks longer, but the vocabulary is much easier to understand. Text-dependent questions. Our ELA teachers work very hard for a very long time at this. So that is another feature that's available to give students practice with those types of responses and writing them. Letters to parents, or email to administrator, principal, also very helpful. And the last one is the best one. I wish I could play this for you. Create a story, and it's kind of hidden here. There it is. So you can make an AI picture book and it will read it. It has page turns in the transitions. And so one of our elementary technology teachers made one to teach kindergartners how to take care of their Chromebooks. That's what she does on the first day of school and the first technology lesson every year. It was outstanding. And they actually were quiet and watched it. They were a little confused that the person in the book didn't look like their teacher, but she was able to explain that. So that's one that was very helpful to her, but we also had some secondary teachers find it useful. And that was it for me. Do you want me to keep these slides up here?
Sure.
Sure.
Hey,
Or do you want
Arlen,
to share?
according to Gemini, the shape in the Google Gemini logo, which looks like that, is a 4-point star, often called a spark or a diamond.
Oh, good. I call it a diamond. It didn't give you the ISO something hedron shape?
Gemini did not in my brief, which my
Good.
prompt was the Google Gemini diamond shape name was my prompt. But a spark or a diamond. Yep.
I like Spark.
I guess leading from the great, point about how Gemini is now built into Classroom, which is amazing. And I was so excited to see that update during the summer. I just included here a couple of additional prompts in case anybody is still looking to just use Gemini as just a straight generative AI tool to plan with you. Like I said, I came from a special ed background, so a lot of my work focused on how can I support my learners, how can I take the grade level content and make it easier, not easier, or essentially more adaptive for their learning needs. How can I break it down? How can I make it easier to understand? How can I make it more engaging for them? So a lot of those tools that are built in the classroom now, it was great to see all of them because a lot of them were things that I would have put into Gemini just by myself. But I put in here a couple of prompts that I have found if you're just looking for a back and forth or to build out your own gem. I have a couple of these that I use pretty frequently as gems. So these are just some options for how you can build out or things you could ask. So one of my favorite ones is asking about analogies specifically. What are analogies that I can use to connect to this topic, to this student interest? I taught middle school. It was always something I was trying to engage them to build their background knowledge before I taught them anything. But coming up with things related to their interests was always challenging because I wasn't always in the know on things they were interested in. So that would have really helped in the classroom, connecting skills to student experiences and backgrounds. What barriers might students face? That was always something I was trying to think in the back of my mind from a UDL approach when I designed learning. Like, what are the things my students are going to struggle with related to this topic? Gemini can help with that using the first prompt. What might a sixth grader struggle with when understanding this skill? I found that it's pretty good in giving you a lot of different things that are typically barriers when approaching that type of skill. And that would have been great in the classroom to preemptively anticipate that when planning instruction. So these are just some prompts that you can kind of take the bolded parts and fill in the blank based on your own content area. And they seem to work really well when I've done them with teachers to practice planning for instruction.
So I think I'm back. Am I back? It was crazy. It was crazy.
I just stopped sharing because I was at a different spot in the presentation, unless you want me to pull it up.
Well, I can pull it up. I just don't know where we're at. Which slide were we on? Do we know?
We did your Google Drive one about prioritizing folders.
Yeah, and I could see you, but I couldn't get in there. Let's see. We did this?
No.
Yeah, I kind of feel like we're ready for. Oh no, we didn't do that.
We didn't do
Not
this.
I felt like we were ready for like slide 32, workspace
Okay.
for projects.
Let me go back. That's where we're at. We were here. I think this is where we are.
That's a new one. We did not do that.
We
That's
did not
Jen.
do that. I think there's a couple 32 and 33, but I can go ahead and get started on this one.
Okay, this slide deck's a little different, I think, so I must have got moved around. That's okay.
Good. I am going to talk a little bit about my use of Google Sites. This is large scale. So this worked out for me as an instructional coach in the building, an instructional technology specialist, as a response to, we have the free version of Google. And as you would know, there isn't a parent login so much like there is in Seesaw or some other LMS application. So our response to parents was to create what we call a learning launchpad through Google Sites. And its purpose is to communicate to parents what's going on in the classroom, communicate to students if they miss, what does that weekly overview look like if they plan on missing, or even if they just have anxiety about what's going to happen in class that week, they can go ahead and look at this learning launchpad. It was super easy to put together, and it's even easier to maintain on my part. So I've done this website for the entire building. So this is 3 grade levels. I should tell you, I am in a very rural school, so we're only looking at about 30 teachers and about 500 students. But we created this one time in a Google site, and then each teacher has a Google slideshow that they add their weekly plan. You know, the weekly overview is what we called it. And they can embed links, which a lot of us have links to screencasts that from, you know, the COVID time and era. And as you're finding resources, just that extra place to put resources to help engage parents. So, or students when they're out. So then the teachers link this underneath a great topic, Ted, in Google Classroom. We have a great topic that goes to the top that says, you know, students absent, look here first. And it will take them to the Learning Launchpad. And then they're in there and they can go ahead and check from teacher to teacher. So it's easy to set up. You give each teacher a Google slideshow, and the newest slide for the week is on top, and that's what appears in the webpage. So it's worked really well for us as a response to something more than the static that Google Classroom provides for parents.
Very good. So, is this what we missed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So in here, I'm just going to pull this up. If you have ever been in Google Drive and you look onto the left-hand side, if you ever notice the place Workspace for Projects, this is a huge tool. It is can be like a private, personalized digital binder, and I use this all the time. So if I'm using this, I will have a list right here, a workspace for before school opens. And then I put documents in here. I add documents. Now I'm not actually moving them from my Google Drive. I'm just kind of putting a shortcut to them in a workspace. So you have a total of 8 workspaces that you can use, and you can have, I believe, 25 documents in a workspace. So I have all my documents that I'm going to need to look at a moment's notice right before school starts. So then I can pull that up. Then when I'm done, I can archive it and not look at it until the next school year. So this is something that if you have a project going on, maybe you have parent-teacher conferences coming up, you could make one for parent-teacher conferences, and it will help keep you organized and be able to find everything at the same time. Katie, is this you? Did you do this?
This is me. I didn't do it yet.
Okay.
I wanted to throw in a Sheets one. I love a fun Google Sheet tip. This is something that I used to do at the start of every year. I actually did it over the summer with I'm a technology director now. So I actually did the same thing for my technicians as a checklist to see progress throughout the entire summer as we were working. But it worked really well with my students too. When we were doing IEP goals, I was always trying to find different ways to track their progress over the course of the year. And I wanted it to be visual, not just numbers in a spreadsheet for my students to look at. And so I found that this function in Google Sheets works really well. And I put the on the top is the actual formula that I used. It's called the Spark line. And it's really great if you're doing any kind of progress tracking with students. It allows the students to see, when you put a certain number in, it makes a progress bar for you. So it works in terms of, this is our long-term goal. Let's check off boxes. As we check off a box, it populates at the top and it kind of moves the bar across. I was always trying to figure out how to make the data a little bit livelier for my students. Like I said, nobody wants to look at a giant spreadsheet with just data in it, but it was really nice for them to see this is the progress I'm making toward my goal that I need to complete by the end of the year. Or by the end of the semester or whatever it was. So it's just a fun formula that I still do use. Even my technician team really appreciated it this summer. They liked being able to track as they went along, visually see how much they've completed over the course of the week. So it's just a nice, formula if you're looking to do something extra with your Google Sheets.
So I'm always envious of Sheets users. It seems to be my Achilles heel, but I'm learning every day. All right, so we went through those.
Jen, this is you now. So as an instructional coach, we're always looking for ways to engage teachers in small group coaching. And it doesn't always work, certainly in elementary land where there's little to no free time, but also in middle to high school where prep periods don't always align. And we are also trying to do a better job about connecting teachers across buildings. We're small, but we still are 4 buildings. And even though they're different content areas or different grade levels, they might be working on the same, what we call action learning plan. And they could be working with a coach or with a lead teacher. And we were looking for a place where we could asynchronously connect during the school year. And definitely wanted something that was separate than email. So we landed a few years ago on Google Spaces, which lies under the chat of your Gmail. So when you go to the Gmail and over to the side, you'll see a chat, and then you can see these spaces. And so we name our spaces. The way we organize it is we have an instructional coach, and then we have a lead teacher. And this is somebody who has presented at a professional learning event that we have over the summer usually, or somebody that's recently taken a class on this. And so then we set up a schedule where once a month we provide a resource and a discussion question, and then teachers are offering questions and soliciting suggestions from the group, and also just sharing their successes of how the lesson worked or a great resource they found. And it's just a nice way to put like-minded teachers together in a place that isn't another website. It's still just right there in your Gmail, but it's away from the daily grind emails from the secretaries, from the parents, what have you. And it's in this nice, happy place where you can go and look when you're ready for your professional learning, collaboration, networking, PLCs with your colleagues. So we love it.
So I wanted to talk about Google Calendar appointment schedules. I don't know if anybody has used these. We use these for our parent-teacher conferences, but I think this is something that teachers can use to create appointment schedules for parents to be able to schedule time with the teacher if they want. So I'm going to actually share my screen and try to show you this live. So if we go here, so I am in my calendar right now, and I'm just going to go to the top here, and I'm going to create an appointment schedule. So once I create this schedule, I'm just going to call this testing. And I am going to now select my appointment duration time. So if I want to offer 15-minute appointments, I can do that. Do I want it to repeat every week? I could do that as well. And maybe I only want it to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And then I can fill in the time slots that I'm available that day. So maybe I have a plan period that I'm available from 9 a.m. until, let's just say 9:30. And then that is going to, 9 to 9. 9 to 9 is not going to work. Let's do 9 to 9:30 a.m. And now you see that there's 2 time slots available on Tuesday. And then I could do the same thing for Thursday as well. And then if I wanted to add an additional time, maybe I want to add an after school on Tuesday, so I could add here, I could add another period to that day, and I could do a 3:30 to 4. Now, if I put something on my calendar, if I had something on my calendar during that time, it's actually going to block off those time schedules. So I'll show you how you do that. So the scheduling window, they could book 60 days in advance. Right here, it's they could book 4 hours in advance, but I'd prefer that I know 24 hours in advance. So I'm going to put 24 in there. And then for the booking appointments, do I want them to invite other people? Maybe not. So I'll just take that off. And then it's going to check against my calendar to see if I have any scheduling conflicts. I could also add a co-host here if I wanted to, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hit next. And this is my booking page photo and name. So here's my name. And now here is how I want to meet. So I want to probably say I'm going to give them the option of how they want to meet, but I'm going to add a Google Meet link here. And that way they're going to automatically get a Google Meet link. And then I can put a description in here of what I'm looking for. And this would appear in their emails that they get. So, like if you know exactly what you're talking or what you want to discuss here, be ready and prepared. And then here we're going to get asked for their first name, their last name, their email address. And then here is where I can ask for their phone number, and I can require it. That way, if I have to call them back, I can do that. And then I can also add a custom item. So here I'm going to ask, how would you like to meet? Meet, spell it. And then require that as well. And I'm going to add that item. And then when I'm all done here, I can also give them an email reminder the day before, and then I'm going to save that. Once I save that, I have the booking page right here that I can share with the teachers. So this would be the link that I would share. So I would go here to grab the link, and here I would go to open up the booking page. So once I click on that booking page, you're going to see now every Tuesday and Thursday, I have appointment slots available during those times. So if I go to next week, there we are again. And then I could just block out days. Like if it's a day off, I can just go ahead and go through those dates and block those off. But it's a simple way that they can quickly click on the link, put in their phone number, talk about how they want to meet, and then book the appointment.
Judy, I'm so excited that you shared this because this is one of those things that has vastly improved over time. When I set up my first calendar, when I set my first calendar, I was like, appointment slots weren't for me. And I actually ended up going to, you can book me. And now I'm excited to see just how streamlined it is and the different options there are. And I'm excited to migrate back to Google.
I actually use this as a coach. I actually use this for my teachers. So my teachers, I have a button at the bottom of my email and my email address, and they can just click that button. It'll take them right to my booking page. And I have taken all that back and forth out of the emailing back and forth to figure out a time. Here's the button, click on it, see what times are available and what suits your schedule. It's super great.
100%.
So, and this will all be in the slide presentation that we'll share. And there's the link to share it. Wow, I'm impressed. Like I really am sorry that I lost internet because I just got brand new fiber. I don't know what happened, but anyway, it worked out, and you guys had my back. I appreciate it. So, do we want to talk about what is a GEG, Ted?
That is a great question, Judy. So it started. I mean, GEGs have been around for a while, but there's some ebb and flow to it. I can give you a little bit of a background with New Jersey. I know there's been other people before Katie and I that had GEG New Jersey, but everybody gets busy with their different lives, other things, and all that kind of stuff. And so during the pandemic, Katie and I as two, and then a lot of other great members that we still have with us as well, or have moved on to other things. Kind of, we went through a relaunch during the pandemic or right after the pandemic, and it's been neat to see how it's grown. We try to be visible at some conferences. We try to do a little online PD, but mainly we try to be supportive of all our teachers in New Jersey and beyond. I know it's like I said, it's been great, and also it's been really great too to get to partner up with other Google educator groups, both nationally and internationally as well. Because it's, to be honest, for us, it's kind of an excuse to get together. We have a lot of great, we do it online. I know that we're looking toward maybe some live events, but we have been at some conferences together too. But it's a great. We have a lot of different skill sets in our group, in a lot of different areas that you wouldn't expect to see. And so, yes, we use Google as our, main umbrella that brings us all together. But it's been great to learn about each other and see people really kind of, be successful with that. So it's been great for the opportunity. So you're going to tell us about your widespread PA, right, guys?
Well, we are working on some events coming up. So we're hoping to have an event at least every other month, maybe a little bit more. There's something else that's brewing that I want to talk to my team about, but I'm excited to maybe throw something else in there. But Jen or Arlen, do you have any of the events that we're planning? Do you happen to have them pulled up at all by chance?
I don't, but it won't take me long.
Yeah,
Oh, good. Because I can talk. So the QR codes that are there again are the GEG websites, both for New Jersey and for Pennsylvania. And so if you would like to become involved a little bit more, we'd love to hear from you. Let's see, I know last year we did an in-person event at Pete and C, and we hope to do that again this year as well. And hopefully we'll have more
calendar up here, Judy, the annual plan, if that's what you're referencing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like in October, we have drafted maybe a Gemini virtual event, and then another virtual event in December. Looking for the in-person, as you mentioned, at Pete and C in February, end of year in May, and then another virtual event there in the spring before that. So we have different ideas.
And if you go to the website, Arlen, don't we have one there where they can join and get into the group email?
Yes, we do. It is right on the homepage of GEG Pennsylvania on the Google site.
Let me share that page. So if we go to the page right here,
It's right at the end of that first paragraph. Start by joining the GEG Pennsylvania Google group.
Okay, right here. So right here's where you're going to click. So you're going to click there, and you're going to ask to join the group, and then you'll get emails, and you can choose the way you want to get them, if you want them as condensed or if you want them as they come in. So, what do you have coming up, Ted?
So we were actually just talking about it. Because like I said, we just met.
You lost
again.
me now.
Can you guys hear me still? Okay.
Yep.
I just want to make sure. Okay. No, I just want to make sure that if Phillipsburg can hear me, Easton can hear me. I just want to make sure that if Camden can hear me, that Philadelphia can hear me. Okay, all right, enough of that. All right, I just want to make sure. Right? Was it? Never mind. I'll stop there. I won't even talk about the Trenton area. Okay, which is part of Central Jersey, which I live in. People in Pennsylvania, just so you know, Central Jersey exists, regardless of what people like Katie might tell you. I pay a lot of taxes to live here in Central New Jersey. So, but anyway, regarding events, we have some online events coming up as well. We're tentatively looking at possibly November and January to highlight some of the great work that people are doing. And again, yes, they will use Google tools in their presentation and all that kind of stuff, but it won't be solely on necessarily PD. It may be on some other passion project that they're working on, because we really do try to highlight that. And last year, just to give you an idea of the live events that we were at, we did do a meetup at New Jersey Texpo in Atlantic City. We did that. And, it was like, we had one formal meetup, which was like, just like we took advantage of the free breakfast, and we're there. And then people kind of came and said hello, but we kept, going to other events or seeing each other on the floor, that type of thing. NJECC or NJAC, right, is up at Montclair State University. They were gracious enough to give us a table there for the conference. So we had a lot of good, we met a lot of people that way as well. And then at ISTE, there is a group of us that tend to go. Katie has been taking the virtual route lately, but I'm sure in the back of my mind, I can picture Katie definitely making her way to Orlando for a lot of reasons. So hopefully she'll be there live, but we try to be supportive of each other as well as, all the other people we know globally too. But we really do try to run around and support our New Jersey people because, ISTE is a very big place. If you've never been, regardless of what the convention center is. So we will probably be looking to highlight those things again. We may also have like a more casual type of just kind of meetup where we meet up for like a coffee or some other kind of beverage, depending on, who does what. I'll just sit there regardless of what the beverage is. So you'll have somebody to talk to. But Katie, did I miss anything? Is there anything you want to add to that?
I was just going to say that we did the 2 virtual webinars last year too. We did one on the all the different certifications. So if anybody wasn't sure what types of Google certifications they're interested in, we had some tips from our newly, minted innovators. And then in June, we also did a virtual session where we showcased all of the New Jersey Google innovators and their current projects, which was really exciting to learn about. So, just not just PD and training, but also, getting to learn from each other around the state.
And just to not to jump not to step on Katie's line, but I just want to make sure everybody heard. It was 7. Right, we had 7. So the last people from New Jersey to be in an innovator group prior to this group were Katie and I, and that was VIA 20, where we did it virtually and basically, we were locked up, but we did it weekly and all that kind of stuff. And then the pandemic happened, things happened or whatever. But in that group out in Chicago, we were able to place 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 great educators from New Jersey who are all doing wonderful work. So we were very proud to showcase them for that and very proud to have them represent us out in Chicago too.
I think we had one in Pennsylvania that I know of, and that was me. So we got to get more. We got to beat Jersey. Come on, let's go. All right. Well, I think that's a wrap. And we should do it again sometime. But thanks for attending, guys. We really appreciate it. And we hope you learned something great that you can take into your back to school classroom. Bye.
Take care, everybody.